What is up, cupcakes? It's your boy Paperback Dan. I'm back doing another Wednesday Warrior video. Had some technical difficulties and was kind of busy. Got to chat with Connor and got a couple videos coming from him and I on top of this. But yeah, um, sorry for the delay. Like I said, had some issues. My power was going out and stuff, which made it hard to read and film. So it kind of set me back a little bit. And I honestly had a lot of books to read this week. I'm not like keeping track of stats or anything, but this might be the largest week that I've had since I started doing this. So I'm just going to jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, the week as a whole is kind of underwhelming, but I mean, it happens. So first, there's two books that I did not read, and the first one I want to talk about is Titans United, number 5 of 7. They keep killing it with these covers. I'm a huge fan of them. I think at this point, since I'm this far behind, I'm just going to wait until the series is over, potentially. But who knows? Maybe next month will be a little bit on the lighter side overall, and I can kind of catch back up a little bit. The other book is Dark Ages number 4. It's finally here, so I'm going to read all 4 issues in one shot. Tom Taylor signed a DC exclusive deal, which means that after Dark Ages, I'm assuming that's it. There's no sequels or anything like continuations that are at least going to have his influence. But either way, I'm excited that issue 4 is finally here. I'm going to get caught up on the series so that next month and the following month for 5 and 6, I can talk about it because I'm looking forward to it. I'm still getting over this damn cold. Cough always lingers. First book that I read is a book that I told myself I was not going to get, and I got it anyway because I saw it on the shelf, and I just hate keeping my money, I guess. But it's Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes, number 1 of 6. It's Brian Michael Bendis doing his DC stuff that I've never heard anybody say good things about. And to be completely honest, I don't really know what's happening in this issue. But neither do the characters. So it's weird. I don't hate it. I'm interested enough to, at the very least, read issue 2. But it wasn't great or anything. There's like a little mystery going on. I don't know. It was okay, but if you're not into what Bendis has already been doing, I don't really see a point in you reading this unless you like the Legion of Superheroes or something and want to read more about them. I'm not super familiar with them, which I think is what ended up helping me decide to get into it. But overall, it was okay. Not super confusing. It just, you don't know what's going on, and there's not a lot of explanation. Next is the first book of this kind that I've ever read. Full disclosure. So maybe this isn't the best place to start. But I got Scorched number 1 from Image. This is the G cover, I believe, which is the Stegman one. I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't really like the A cover, which is what I would have wanted to get, but since I didn't like it, I looked for something else. It was between that and the Capullo one. Obviously, you saw which one I got, and it was okay. I've never read a Spawn book, so I'm sure I would have benefited a little bit more from being a little up to date with that. There is a point where it references something that happened in King Spawn, but overall, I didn't feel lost. I think the book is fairly straightforward. There's just certain like characters or little references that I probably missed because I'm not familiar with the Spawn universe. With that said, it wasn't great, but it wasn't bad, and I'll probably be picking up an issue 2. Up next, from Vault, we've got Lunar Room number 2, and it was fine. I read the first issue, last month. I guess it was. I think I talked to Loheed about it, and like it was cool. Like it was a little interesting. I don't expect the series to go on super long. Some of these like major indie publishers like Vault or Scout or Aftershock, like in my experience, they don't have too many series that run for like super long periods of time. This issue was fine. It wasn't as good as the first one. The the way the book breaks itself down, it has little chapters, and each chapter shifts who's talking to the reader, or like who's narrating, and that can be a little jarring because sometimes I'm not sure which person it's supposed to be. But ignoring that, the issue is fine. New characters are starting to get introduced. I think they introduced like the big bad in this particular issue, or at least the big bad for this current arc. So it was okay. Nothing great, not as interesting as the first issue, but certainly not something that's going to keep me away from getting issue 3. Up next is Phenomx, I think is how you pronounce it. It looks like Phenomx, but I think the book finally tells you in this issue it's pronounced Phenomx. Phenomx, I don't know. It's confusing. But this issue was fine too. The series overall has been fairly average. That's issue 3. I don't think I said that. And I don't know. It's a mini series, so I'm going to continue it because it's not boring. It's just not great. I don't know that I'm the demographic, or like in that demographic, I should say, for what this book is aiming for, but I can still appreciate certain things about it. And yeah, it's okay. Um, I don't I don't really want to dive into it because I don't want to get into spoilers, so it's hard to say what's really going on. But there's kind of a twist, I guess, at the end of this issue, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. But like I said, I'm gonna continue it because it hasn't been bad thus far, and as far as I'm aware, there's only 2 more issues. Up next, another Vault book is We Ride Titans. So I was really excited about this book actually, and I had only heard about it within the last week or two, but the concept of it sounded cool. It reminded me a lot of Pacific Rim, which, reading the book, I get that vibe. It's giant robots fighting kaiju. I mean, like, that's what you expect from a book like this. Only problem is that is what I expected from a book like this, and there wasn't really any of that in this first issue. So overall, the issue wasn't very impressive, but I do think that the book has potential. So I will, at the very least, get issue 2. But yeah, overall, it's not the start that I would have wanted. I know that there's certain things that they had to set up, so like I get that, but I don't know, with a title like that and with the expectation that the synopsis sets, I was hoping for a little bit more action. But yeah, overall not a bad issue. I guess I needed to lower my expectations or change them moving forward. Up next, second to last one. I think I'm at 9 issues or 10 issues for this week, I think it was. Knighted, number 3. And I mean, so that cover is pretty cool. A little misleading though, no spoilers. But this issue was good. I think overall it's better than the other ones that I've gone through. The series continues to interest me. I really like where it's going or where it can go. I think that's what's really driving me is the potential. I like the idea of this guy taking over as a superhero that's pre-existing with zero superhero experience, knowledge, etc. of his own. He is really struggling with it, and you see that. And it's interesting. He's got a whole lot of like real life problems on top of the fact that now he's taken over the mantle for this hero, who's like really the only one where he lives anyway. So like there's a lot of like added pressure there, and now this group of villains has his sights set on him. So I can only imagine where it's going to go. And I mean, right here it says heroes never die, but you can clearly see that never is crossed out. So maybe they're alluding to this character, you know, potentially dying. It says it on every issue, so like I'm not really spoiling anything because it could just be referring to how the superhero died in the first place for this guy to take over the mantle. But either way, it you know, the potential's there. So it is really interesting. The stakes are kind of felt, even though they might not feel very high. But overall, it's been good. I've been enjoying this series. I'm looking forward to, you know, the next 2 issues, and if it continues, I'd be curious to see where it goes to. So out of all the books so far, that one is the one that gets an actual recommendation from me. And up next, the Savior of the Week, as I'm going to be dubbing it, because not only is it my cover of the week, it's my pick of the week in a week that's been generally mediocre. It's No One Left to Fight, Volume 2, Issue 4. Things are building up to the finale of Part 2. Things get kind of crazy in this issue, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen next month because I have no idea where it's going to go. Things kind of look a little bleak for some of these characters, and there's no guarantee that it gets better, so the stakes are there. I really don't know where it's going to go, but all these characters interest me. The art is always awesome. It's still my favorite art on a book that I've ever read. It's good stuff, and I can't recommend it enough. And with that said, I'll give you one more look at the cover, since it is my cover of the week. And you can kind of see right here the where the Dragon Ball Z references or like homage kind of comes from. But it's good stuff. I'm upset that next month is the last issue, but hopefully there's a part 3. And yeah. So with that said, I'm gonna wrap this up because I kind of rambled and I feel like I've been all over the place. But yeah, so I'm gonna plug everything, you know, comment, like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, join our Facebook group, Cupcakes Comic Reviews. It almost feels like a tongue twister. Cupcakes Comic Reviews on Facebook. Join the group, get involved in some of the discussions. It's still a small group, so like now's the time to be heard if you wanted to be. But it's growing, and we're in there all the time, so please join us. And I also, as I said at the top of the video, was filming some stuff with Connor He's still not available for the Wednesday Warrior stuff yet, but he will be back. But on top of that, we've got a few things that we talked about that we're going to be posting. I'm kind of looking forward to that, getting him back in here. And with that said, I will see you guys next week. Peace.